All right, I want to welcome everyone to our live Saturday morning presentation. You should all be able to see my screen. Eventually, you'll be able to hear the sound off of my screen too. But right now, what we want to do is I've posted 12 new videos on nitric oxide therapy on the Our Synergy Family website. So let's start at Our Synergy Family website. Again, this is a website that we created for our organization, but anyone in Synergy worldwide has access to it. We don't restrict access. It's oursynergyfamily.com. I just recently moved the site to a new hosting company. The old hosting company had some issues with it. It was down several times during the year. Took anywhere from 2 to 3 days for the get them back up. Anyways, make a long story short, I've moved to a new hosting site. In fact, the site loads faster now. Shouldn't be any issues. They cleaned up all the stuff that was on the site that didn't belong there. So it's really works pretty well now. And once you come onto the site, if you scroll down, we have dedicated marketing strategies. We have pages dedicated for each of these different strategies. And if you click here to enter underneath nitric oxide therapy, it takes you to this page here. And at the top of the page, again, when we're dealing with nitric oxide therapy, what we've taught our organization that if you want to create interest, talk in terms of nitric oxide therapy, because most people never heard of nitric oxide therapy. If you talk in terms of LArginine Plus, then people feel like you're going to try and sell them a product. Instead, what you want to do is you want to create interest. And you create interest by talking about nitric oxide therapy. And the purpose of the videos that I'm going to show you is to help you create additional interest with people who want to see how nitric oxide therapy could benefit them. And then once you've created that interest and they're interested in what they could do to apply this nitric oxide therapy, you can then share with them that you've been doing this for a long period of time. There's a lot of products out in the marketplace, but your product of choice is LArginine Plus, and then give them specific reasons why. Again, today's not the day for us to help you understand how to market LArginine Plus, but today is the day to help you understand how to market by using these different new videos that are up here. So anyways, when you come to this page, if you scroll down, we have our existing videos that we've had up here for a long time. And then when you come down to this next section, these are new videos on nitric oxide therapy. There's actually 12 of them. I'm going to show you all 12. I'm not going to play all 12, but I'm going to show you the 12 of them, give you a little background to why each of them are up here. And then I want to show you kind of a marketing strategy that you could do on a social media platform on the second video that you see here, which is COVID-19 and brain fog. Anyways, first video on the left is 22 reasons for LRX9 supplementation. For a long time, we've had a PDF and we've had a printed material which talks about 22 reasons for LRX9 supplementation. What I did is I put this into a video. And this could be, again, a social media platform that you could use where you could do a 7-day social media platform where you begin to talk about people that are in your social media network. Hey, I've been using LRX9 supplementation for a long period of time. I just came across a new video that talked about 22 reasons for supplementing your lifestyle with the amino acid L-arginine. And here's the link to the video. And then you could have that link there. And then instead of just leaving it that, you could then come back the next day. You know, I don't know if you had a chance to watch that video on 22 reasons for L-arginine supplementation, but I'm telling you, reason number, and then, you know, make sure you've watched the video and then pick out of the 22 reasons, pick out your top 5. And then you could then talk about each one on a different day. Whatever those top 5 reasons that you have out of the 22, you could then specifically identify one reason per day for the next 5 days to help create additional interest. Always having the link to this video so that people can watch the whole video. But again, it begins the process of helping to create interest. The second video that you see is, can nitric oxide therapy help address COVID-19 brain fog? I'm going to play this video, not now, but after we go through these videos, to show you, again, the format of the video, help you understand how they're designed, and then how you can use them again to market. But this is really an issue. And again, I'm going to come back to this because I want to spend some time showing you specifically how to market this one here. And then I've got the video, how to compare nitric oxide supplements. Maybe you're getting questions from potential clients, or maybe you've got clients that are still wondering why they should be using Pro-Arginine Plus instead of some other nitric oxide supplement. Again, always watch a video before you share it with someone to make sure that you're comfortable with that video, what it has to say, and then also that you're aware of the contents that are in it. But again, this video helps people to understand how to compare nitric oxide supplements. And when you use this video, it'll become quite clear that Pro-Arginine Plus is the best product that's out in the marketplace for creating nitric oxide. And then I've got the next row of videos, aspirin or nitric oxide, which is better for reducing the risk for blood clots. Again, this could be a social media post. Because the medical profession has now changed their parameters on people in using aspirin. For a long time, it was accepted in the medical profession and actually encouraged that people would take a baby aspirin to help reduce their risk for strokes and heart attacks, because aspirin keeps blood platelet cells from sticking together. That is no longer true. The medical profession has completely changed their stance on this. They don't recommend baby aspirin. They don't recommend aspirin, especially for people who are over the age of 60, because aspirin, again, has more problems associated with it than not using it. So this becomes a great video from a social media standpoint. You could do something along the lines of, have you recently seen how the medical profession has changed their stance on the use of baby aspirin? If you're doing that, or if you have loved ones who are doing it, you really need to see this new video that just came out. Aspirin or nitric oxide, which is better for reducing the risk for blood clots? And then on follow-up social media events that you would do the next day, you could, again, go into Google. You could type in current stance of aspirin, and you'll get a whole list of different types of articles that, again, you could share the headlines for those articles, and then you could have the link to the direct article. So this one here helps people understand the change in the medical profession in its stance with regards to aspirin, also gives the new guidelines for the use of aspirin. And again, it's not recommended anymore. Yet nitric oxide naturally keeps blood platelet cells from sticking together. And when you understand the endothelium and the function of your endothelium regulates the clotting process in the body. So the healthier your endothelium is, the better it will be at knowing when to clot and when to not clot. And then the next video that you see is 6 key truths about L-arginine and nitric oxide. Anytime that I do a video that talks about L-arginine and nitric oxide, always gets a lot of views. And here are 6 key truths. So again, go through the video. If there's some things in there that resonate with you, it becomes another week that you could do a social media post on. Hey, I've been using nitric oxide therapy for a long time. Just came across a great video that talks about 6 key truths about using L-arginine to create nitric oxide. Want to share this video with you. And then highlight those 6 different truths in future posts on social media. Again, each one of these videos gives you the opportunity in social media to create a 5 to 7 day program after you've showed the video on your post, because you can pull out information with regards to different nuggets that you could share with people after that video's after you first post that video on your social media platform, and then always have the link to the video so that in case people missed it, they can always watch it. Here's another great video. Nitric oxide deficiency accelerates aging. Again, most of the people that are on this webinar are most likely in their 50s or older. We're all aging. None of us wants to accelerate the aging process. Every one of us wants to slow down the aging process. And here is a great video, scientific documentation on how nitric oxide deficiency accelerates the aging process. Again, it could be a great video. You know, you're talking to people who are not using nitric oxide therapy. You could ask, and again, from a social media standpoint, anyone out there looking to slow down the aging process? Question mark. Share with me steps that you're taking to do that. And then you can see if you can create some some communication, some networking, people making comments and things on that social media post. That would be the first day. Then the second day would be, I've had a couple people DM me talking about ways that they're trying to slow down their aging process. I use nitric oxide therapy because there's scientific evidence that shows that if people are deficient in nitric oxide, it actually accelerates the aging process. Here's a link to that video that will help you understand this. And then again, you can talk about your experience of using nitric oxide. I've been using nitric oxide therapy since 2008. I look at other people my age and they all look old. Some of them don't, but most of them do. When people see me, they're surprised that I'm 68, soon to be 69. I do things that people who are 68 and 69 can't do. I attribute it to nitric oxide therapy. So again, don't talk about ProArginine Plus. Don't attribute your health benefits to ProArginine Plus. Attribute your health benefits to nitric oxide and nitric oxide therapy. If you do that, there's a lot that you can say without getting yourself in trouble or Synergy Worldwide in trouble. And all you're wanting to do is create the interest. Once you've created interest, people are going to eventually want to know, well, what are you doing? What steps are you taking? Well, I've been using what's called the endothelial pathway for the creation of nitric oxide. I'm going to come to this in a little bit. And I use LRX9 and LCitrulline and a couple other key ingredients, and it helps me maximize my ability to create nitric oxide. In fact, the product that I use is ProArginine Plus from Synergy Worldwide. It's clinically proven. It's recognized by the medical community. They give you 100% money back guarantee. So I was able to try that product to make sure that it would actually help me. It has, and I've been using this product, since whatever your start date is. Now, the next row that we have, what foods contain L-arginine and L-citrulline? Again, this video, this subject, let me put it this way, not this video, but this subject gets a lot of views because people are searching for foods that will help them get L-arginine and L-citrulline into their body. If you have friends in the African-American community, or there's not just the African-American community, but there are other ethnic communities that have issues with sickle cell. Basically, sickle cell is a genetic disorder that when certain parameters happen in the bloodstream, the round red blood cell goes from round to the sickle shape. When that happens, the sickle-shaped red blood cell becomes sticky, and they begin to adhere to the walls, and they begin to adhere to each other, and they cause minor blockages. And the pain that's associated with sickle cell anemia when a crisis occurs is this blockage that happens so that the tissues downstream don't get the level of oxygen that they need. So Nitric oxide does a couple things. First off, one of the second properties of nitric oxide is that it keeps blood platelet cells from sticking together. So it helps to reduce the risk for a sickle cell crisis. If it does occur, it helps to keep blood platelet cells from sticking together so you can minimize the crisis. The other thing that nitric oxide therapy is all about is blood flow. So if I'm using nitric oxide therapy to increase blood flow, I'm then increasing the oxygen, the delivery of oxygen to the cells. When there's good oxygen supply to the cells, then typically you don't get the red blood cell going from circle to sickle. It's usually in low oxygen situations that happens. So again, nitric oxide therapy helps to reduce that risk. It's again a great video for people in certain ethnic communities that are looking for ways to help them reduce the number of crises that they have, and if they do have one, reduce the severity of it. And then the one on the right is nitric oxide improves kidney function. There's a lot of people that have some kidney issues. Again, I've had people who've asked me, can LArginine Plus help me with my kidney issues? And again, you got to be really careful on how you answer that question. What you want to do is redirect it. Well, I can't tell you whether this product will help you with that, but I do know that nitric oxide helps kidney function. In fact, I've got a great video that will help you understand how nitric oxide can improve your kidney function. Would you like me to send it to you? And again, as I've taught in other ones, all you do is right-click, copy video URL, and then you can then send that. You can paste it into an email, and when you send that to it and a person clicks on it, it's going to take them right to that video, and they're going to be able to then watch it.
I am a primary care physician.
Now, just understand that anything that you do that has YouTube nowadays,
nitric oxide improves kidney function.
There's no way that you can get away without having the ads show. So again, that's just inherent to all the YouTube videos now. Going back to our page. So the last three videos that we created is diabetics. Can LRX9 and nitric oxide address multiple health issues? Again, if you have family members that have diabetes, if you have friends that have diabetes, great video for them to watch because they're most likely dealing with different types of health issues due to their diabetes. If you, again, from a social media standpoint, there's just a lot that you could do with this video on a social media platform, not just showing the video, but then pulling out information within this video that you can use on subsequent social media platform presentations. The one that you see in the middle, can LRX9 and nitric oxide help with Alzheimer's disease? Bottom line is yes. In fact, there is so much research out there now that anytime that you improve blood flow to the brain, you improve cognitive function. We'll come back up to this when we look at the one for COVID-19 brain fog. But for Alzheimer's disease, it's not going to stop the disease, but it will slow the progression of the disease down, and it will improve cognitive function. Anytime you improve blood flow to the brain, you improve cognitive function. L-arginine, nitric oxide, and your endothelium are all involved in glucose metabolism. The two key aspects to brain health is abundant supply of oxygen and the ability to get glucose out of the bloodstream into the actual cells. What does nitric oxide therapy do? It improves circulation. What does improved circulation do? Delivers more oxygen and nutrients to the cells. What does L-arginine, nitric oxide, and the endothelium do? It improves glucose metabolism, helps to get glucose out of the bloodstream actually into the cell. And there's other aspects of those three that help with other issues that are important for glucose metabolism. So again, it's a great video to help a person understand how they can improve their cognitive function by improving their blood flow through the use of L-arginine and nitric oxide. And then the final video that I have here is 2 primary pathways for nitric oxide. This would be important for you to watch because at some point in time, you're going to have to deal with the what's called the nitrate-nitrite pathway for the creation of nitric oxide. That would be the people who are Neo-40, Circo-2, the ones that use nitrates, beetroot, whatever it is, you know, any beetroot pathway, any product that uses beetroot is using the nitrate-nitrite pathway for the creation of nitric oxide. And historic to those companies, they all say that their pathway is the best pathway possible for the creation of nitric oxide. So a couple things in this video. First off, we validate that both pathways are valid pathways for the creation of nitric oxide. You know, your job is not to dish the other company. What your job is to show to the person that what the other company says is not completely true. So one of the things that those companies do is they talk about how the L-Arginine pathway is dysfunctional, especially if you're over the age of 40. Again, you need to watch this video because you need to know how to counter that. And you need to know how to be able to do it in a way that is constructive. So you can share this video. You can say to that person, you know, that's not true. In fact, I've got a great video called the 2 primary pathways for nitric oxide. It's going to help you understand the beetroot nitrate-nitrite pathway that they're talking about, but it's also going to help you understand that what they're telling you is not true. Because if you look at their products, every one of those products typically includes another ingredient called L-citrulline. And that ingredient, L-citrulline, goes down that pathway that they're telling you is dysfunctional, which is the endothelial pathway, which is using L-Arginine as its primary source for creating nitric oxide, but your liver converts L-citrulline to L-Arginine, so it goes down that pathway. Those manufacturing companies understand that if they did just beetroot alone, it would be a short-lived pathway for the creation of nitric oxide. That's why they include the L-citrulline, because they can't get long-term nitric oxide production without it. So this video will help you understand. And then if you really want to exercise the best pathway for the creation of nitric oxide, this video will help you understand that there is only one pathway that will do that. And that is the endothelial pathway. And it doesn't matter your age. When you understand that the endothelial pathway is the dominant pathway, if you understand that your endothelium lines all of your vascular system, so it has the greatest potential for creating nitric oxide, then you'll understand that you need to nourish that pathway for the creation of nitric oxide. And if you nourish it properly, you'll produce more nitric oxide over a longer period of time than you will through this other pathway, this nitrate-nitrite pathway. So again, this helps educate you. You can use it as a tool to counter the Neo-40s, the Circo-2 products, the beetroot products that are out there that claim that they're better, and it's not true. Now, I want to come up here and I want to play this one here, and then it'll give you an idea how these videos are set up. As you can see, it's got my little image up here, so these are all branded to me. But I'm telling you, if you take one of my videos that's branded to me and you do your follow-up, people aren't going to call me. If you've sent a video, whether it be a generic video that we've done for our Synergy family, or whether it be one of my videos that's branded to me, I can tell you from my experience, I don't get those calls. All right. If I get a call from a person who's seen my video, it's because they found my video on YouTube. It's not because a distributor has shared my video with them and they're calling me. So if you share one of these videos, whether it's branded to me or not, if you do your follow-up, that person's going to be your customer. And again, the other way that you work around this is to say, hey, I follow this guy called Dan Hammer. He makes some great videos on nitric oxide therapy. I want to share it with you. It's going to address what we're talking about. And then let's talk. Write down any questions that you have. And then when we get back together, I can answer those questions for you. So let me go ahead and play this one so you can see the format of how this is designed. And then I want to show you kind of a social media platform that you could use with this one video.
Can nitric oxide therapy help address COVID-19 brain fog? Nitric oxide is essential for proper brain health. Your body uses nitric oxide to help regulate the following cognitive functions: memory, glucose metabolism, and strengthening nerve impulses to increase signal transmission between neurons. So the question is, can nitric oxide therapy help address COVID-19 brain fog? Hi, this video is from Dan Hammer Health. And if you find value in it, then please subscribe to my channel. The COVID-19 virus has affected the entire world. Millions of people have died due to complications caused by this virus. For those that survived, about 37% of the population can have lingering effects. One of these is brain fog, usually characterized by slow thinking, poor concentration, difficulty remembering things, and confusion. One rehabilitation program that is being used to help people with this issue is what is called neuroplasticity. This type of program helps people to rewire their brain. And if you're interested in this, then I have a link to a great article from WebMD titled "Scientists See Hope in New Therapy for COVID Brain Fog Patients." As I read this article concerning techniques to help the brain change, adapt, and strengthen neural networks, I was reminded about neurogenesis. This is the formation of new neurons, usually from stem cells in the nervous system. L-arginine enhances this formulation through the arginase pathway. While this is a complex process, it first starts with the enzyme arginase and how it converts L-arginine into compounds that can then be used to stimulate the growth of new neurons. There is growing evidence on how nitric oxide plays a critical role in regulating neurogenesis, as well as neural survival. Additionally, the key to cognitive function centers on two key ingredients: oxygen and glucose. Aerobic respiration, which requires oxygen, creates 18 times more energy than when oxygen is not used. Improving blood flow to the brain improves the delivery of oxygen. This improves your brain's ability to properly function. But it also needs glucose. You must get the glucose out of the bloodstream and into the brain cells. This is where nitric oxide, L-arginine, and your endothelium, which lines all of your cardiovascular system, comes into play. Your brain's ability to properly metabolize glucose is a key factor in memory. This element of glucose metabolism is key to verbal and visual memory and learning patterns. And this is where L-arginine and nitric oxide can have a tremendous impact on brain function. First, nitric oxide helps to normalize glucose metabolism by increasing glucose transport. Second, nitric oxide facilitates the uptake of glucose into cells. Third, L-arginine regulates insulin release, which is needed for proper glucose metabolism. Fourth, both L-arginine and nitric oxide work together to enhance insulin sensitivity for improved glucose metabolism. All four of these factors have a positive benefit for improving cognitive function. Leslie E. Korn, PhD, has a great article in Psychology Today titled, "How Nitric Oxide Helps Mental Health and COVID-19 Response." I have a link to this article in the description below. In it, Dr. Korn makes the following statement. We typically think of nitric oxide for its role in cardiovascular health, diabetes, and erectile dysfunction, yet it is also essential for mental health, cognitive function, and prevention of vascular dementia and Alzheimer's. A lack of adequate nitric oxide production increases the risk of depression, and the presence of nitric oxide positively affects our mood. If you want to utilize nitric oxide therapy for improved cognitive function, then there are 6 key ingredients needed to maximize this process. They are L-arginine, L-citrulline, vitamin D3, vitamin K2, red grape polyphenol extract, and pomegranate fruit juice concentrate. I cover these 6 ingredients in my video titled Understanding Nitric Oxide Therapy. A detailed discussion starts at the 6:19 mark of the video. While there is still much to be learned, when you add up the existing information, it's clear that L-arginine, nitric oxide, and your endothelium are needed for proper cognitive function. If you would like to get more videos on how to improve your health, then please subscribe to my channel. If you have questions or need to contact me, then here is my contact information. Thanks for watching, and please share this video with others. Together, we can make a major difference in the health of our family and friends.
All right, so that's the video. I'm not sure how I can get the squiggles off because someone, let's see, erase. Give me 1 second here to erase these squiggles. Okay. So what would you do from a social media standpoint? The first place that I always start is Google. I use Google. I don't like Google, but I use Google because it's the best platform for finding information. And all I did was type in COVID-19 and brain fog. And when you do that, you're going to see common question. I mean, the information that you're seeing is the same information that that you would most likely do on your own. Now, one of the most common symptoms of long COVID is brain fog, a life-altering condition characterized by slow thinking, confusion, difficulty remembering things, and poor concentration. So COVID-19 has been in our population now for a little over 2 years. One of the things that they found is that people who've had the COVID-19 virus, about 37% of the people who have the virus have lingering side effects. Those lingering side effects on average last for about 7 months. And one of the most prominent ones is this aspect of brain fog. So what would you do from a social media standpoint? My suggestion would be just to start out with a question. So far, and so like if I was writing this, I've not yet had COVID-19. Full disclosure here, I'm not vaccinated. I'm a firm believer in vitamin D. And so I do a lot to make sure that my immune system is boosted. Doesn't mean I won't get COVID-19 at some point in time, but so far I have not. So I could do something, you know, I've not gotten COVID-19, but 5 other adults in my family did. And they all had different levels of symptom severity to it. Just out of curiosity, is there anyone out there that had COVID-19 and you're still dealing with some long-term health issues? And if you don't mind, what are those issues that you're experiencing? And so you could start your post something like that. Now, if you've been vaccinated, again, let people know that you've been vaxxed. And if you've gotten COVID-19 even after being vaccinated, share it. You know, I got COVID, you know, I got vaccinated. I still ended up with COVID. My symptoms were mild, but I've known some friends that, you know, vaccinated, had COVID, is still dealing with some symptoms from it. Just out of curiosity, any of my family and friends out there, did you get COVID-19? And are you experiencing any long-term issues from it? And then just see what kind of replies that you get. And then the second post, you know, yesterday I asked people if they, for those that have gotten COVID-19, if there are any long-term side effects. One of the most common ones, you know, if you don't get any responses, you don't have to say, hey, no one responded. You just don't even talk about it. You say, one of the most common responses is people have what's called brain fog. Here's what brain fog is. And then you could come in and you could put in quotes, this one quote that you're seeing on the screen here. You know, that comes from WebMD. So according to WebMD, here's what COVID-19 brain fog is. And you could put that up there. How do you deal with that? Well, I came across a great video that talks about this. And it's a method that most people wouldn't understand but it's based in Nobel Prize winning science. And again, you could play the video. And then in that video, there's enough material in that video, whether, like if we go back to this video, one of the things that you can do on all my videos is if you go to the description and you click on show more, basically you have the whole script of that video. And so in that script, you know, you can then use the different links that are there, links to articles on nitric oxide. And oh, this is kidney function, got the wrong one here. So let me go back up here to the brain fog one. So again, when you show more, it gives you the whole script. And again, you can go and you can click on the live links that are in there, and that can take you to the different articles. So here's the one that I showed in that video. You can click on that link. You could share that in your social media post. You know, Psychology Today. Again, want to use Psychology Today because that validates the information that you're talking about. You know, if you just said Dr. Korn has an article, well, who is Dr. Korn? You would say in Psychology Today, Dr. Korn had this article titled How Nitric Oxide Helps Mental Health and COVID-19 Response. So again, you can use that to validate the video and the information that you're sharing with people on a social media post. So again, there's a lot of things that you can do that if you're hung up on exactly what to do, if you've listened to the video and there's a section in the video that you really like, every video that you see from me, all you have to do is once you're on that video on YouTube, if you just click on the show more, my whole script is there. All right. And so you can pull out information off of the script. You can click on links. So again, it just gives you a lot of additional information that you could use to helping you create your social media platform, your campaign on social media. So with that said, do I have any questions from anyone with regards to information I've shared with you this morning? Everyone's muted. You'll have to unmute yourself and I can take your question.
Hey, good morning, Dan. This is David.
Yes, David.
Okay, so I love the material, I love the information, and I love the idea of having a sequential presentations utilizing the excellent videos that you provided for us. I'm going to ask you something you probably went over before, but for my benefit and the benefit of those on, once the individual sees and is convinced that nitric oxide is something they want, then there's always a call to action, which is usually when you speak to the person about nitric oxide saying, okay, what I use is a product that was developed by Synergy Worldwide several years ago called LArginine Plus. If you want to do the same thing I do and order it, here's the link or here's how to order it. But could you share with us if we prepare something, and let's say in the comments somebody's asking that, how do we copy and paste the order line for our own, let's say, website in Synergy that we can attach to the comments on Facebook or the comments in YouTube so the person could click on it and order it? Could you review that for us?
Sure. So David, what's your ID number?
1402694.
So not using the new site, because again, the new site is always new. All right. So if you decide, that you want to use your existing the replicated website that we have from Synergy Worldwide, all these websites are still live, operational until it's completely converted to the new site. So it's basically your ID number .synergyworldwide.com. All right. So that's you, correct? Su Buena Salud.
That's correct.
All right. Then you go to shop and you go to all products and you go down to your Pro LArginine. And then
Okay.
this would be the link, copy this link, and you would send that link to the person. All
If
right.
the individual wanted a 4-pack, we could do the same thing, Dan?
Well,
Or
Let
they would
me-
just select it from there?
okay, so let me do this. I'm going to go and give people the secret codes, David.
Thank you, Dan.
It takes a little while for things to move on. There we go. All right. I'm trying to remember what I've got this under, so give me a second here.
By the way, I just wanted to comment that brain fog video is valuable. It's going to be great to share that, especially with the Hispanic community. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are suffering from that are going to be keen on that video, either for themselves or someone they know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. Coding for buy buttons. All right, let me go and find you, David. There you go. So which one do you want, David? The Jumbo Jar plus one?
No, the 4-pack.
4-pack, okay. And then I'll tell people what they need to do.
Alrighty.
Okay, so what's the difference between this, which is again on David's site? Again, it's got his ID number that ends with 9% 2B. So after the 9% 2B, you do a semicolon, SKU for SKU equals, and then whatever the SKU number is for that product. And they give you the SKU numbers. Okay. So it's SU, capital S, capital U, 93111. And so if anyone wants to specifically send them a page directly to, let's say, David, you talked to them and you gave them the option between a 4-pack and a Jumbo Jar plus one. And they understand that, you know, for $40 more, they can basically get 90 more servings. But hey, my budget, I would feel more comfortable doing the 4-pack. Okay, great. I'll send you a link to the 4-pack and you can order that directly from Synergy Worldwide. So again, looking at the difference between the two, if you take, you know, after the B, you know, on your link for ProArginine Plus, after that last B, if you put a semicolon, SKU equals whatever the the SKU number is for that product. In this case, it's SU 93311. You know, if it was the Jumbo Jar, well, let me just pull it up. All right, so people can see. So on the Jumbo Jar, the SKU number is 93108. So again, you would just change it so that you would have the right SKU number. And in this case, and my suggestion, David, is if you're going to send this to the person, I would send them both. You know, I would say, you know, David, good talking with you. Glad that you're interested in wanting to take, you know, the next step in improving your cardiovascular health through nitric oxide therapy. As I shared with you, this is my product of choice. It's clinically proven. It's a clinically proven product. It has a 120-day money-back guarantee. It's recognized by the medical community as the best L-arginine supplement in the world. And so here's the link to the 4-pack that you talked about. And in case you change your mind and you really want to, you know, give this the full trial, get an extra 90 servings, here's the link to the Jumbo Jar plus one. And then you would have both links in your email. And you can say to, you know, you say in your email, you know, once you get your product, I'm more than happy to work with you and make sure that you're going to use. In fact, I've got instruction sheets based upon whether you use the 4-pack or whether you use the Jumbo Jar. I've got 2 different instruction sheets on how best to use those 2 different options. And again, I'll send that to you once I know which one you decide. Does that
Great information, Dan.
Does that make
This is
sense?
really
Help?
good information. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It does, and it helps me really, utilize in my mind how I'm going to present things. And of course, when the call to action happens, thanks for this refresher, so that I could just send them the links corresponding to the product they want. In this case, it's nitric oxide. So I much appreciate it.
Yeah, and so David, if you interest them in some other product, then again, it's the same thing. All you need to do is get the SKU number.
Got it.
Because
great information.
Yeah, because once the only difference in where it's going is based upon the SKU.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome. Anyone else with any questions before we say goodbye? All right. Well, I thank you for your time. We'll be back next week for a live presentation. And everyone, have a blessed weekend. Bye-bye now.